Hello, everybody, and welcome to Resolve the Unsolved Forum by Panisha eBiz Consulting Group. We are back after a gap of 1 week, I think a fortnight, because of Diwali and other festive seasons going on. And this gave us an opportunity to spend the time interacting with different entrepreneurs and people who have been coming on our forum and have been listening to the various webinars or have been participating into it. And the scenario right now, as we are slowly trying to come out of the pandemic environment across the globe and more so within our own geography, uh, people have been raising very valid and pertinent queries on a one-to-one basis. If I've been running my organization for the last 20 years, Sandeep, tell us how come 6 months we are finding it difficult? We have been talking to people. See, if a family is able to survive and pull through for 6 to 7 months, whether they are earning or not, in some cases, in a middle class environment, how come a company which is a 50 crores or 100 crores suddenly realizes, I can't see the way forward? How can that happen? Some have been saying, I manage my balance sheets very well. My chartered accountant is there. So still I'm struggling. The fact is, we all know in the last 2 decades or so, we became quite aware of our health issues. And we have been doing our own regular checkups. We consult medical experts, health experts, diet experts. And somehow we have increased our life longevity and performances. But what happens is, most of the time, which I'm sure in the panel we all have realized as we have been interacting with various corporates, startups, entrepreneurs, somewhere companies have been unknowingly missing out on a company health checkup. And that is what brings us to this webinar today, where we decided to have a panel discussion on how to check your company's health. And I don't think there is a more appropriate time than at present, when we are slowly coming out of COVID-19 scenario and trying to establish ourselves, get our companies back on track, startups coming on and taking up. So with that, let me introduce you to my co-panelists. We have Gopal Krishna from Bangalore. Hi, Gopal.
Hi.
Gopal has spent a rich 30 plus years with the corporate. Currently, he's a co-founder at Dyna Talent Solutions, and he has been guiding and coaching a number of startups and companies. He has been part of the corporate world for quite some time. He has been part of organizations like he was heading as a director of operations for AOL. He was general manager training for ING Vysya Life Insurance. He was a practice leader at Hewitt Associates. And from the time when I met him, he has been one of the key founding members and the founding team members of NIS Sparta. And he has traveled all across the world and he has been coaching various companies, various startups.
Okay.
Welcome, Gopal.
Thank you.
I think this is your second webinar with us.
Yes.
Rajiv, hello. I hope you're doing well.
Yes, absolutely fine.
Okay.
Thank you for calling.
Rajiv comes with a rich corporate experience of 25 years plus. And he too has been guiding and mentoring various businesses out of Delhi, from where he has his own business consulting group, that is RRPSS. He has his stint with the corporate world, like he was part of Deutsche Post Bank, Indorama Synthetics, Carrier Aircon, Home Shop 80, to name a few. He has done his management from Bridge School of Management, and he has undergone various certifications and is practicing specifically on various data analytics and management areas, with the help of which he is guiding various organizations in the northern part of the country. Last but not the least, Mr. Goyal. Mr. Goyal has been part of us, and he himself is an entrepreneur with a 25 years plus of experience, and he is a tech entrepreneur. At present also, he is nurturing and mentoring, I should say, 3 startups. He has successfully implemented skill education and training across the country in the last 20-25 years, and he has been part of the skilling ecosystem for quite some time. Today, he is also actively promoting a completely automated online recruitment and assessment platform, that is eRecruit. At the same time, enabling Panisha eBiz to take the initial baby steps and move forward. Welcome, Mr. Goyal, once more to the forum. Now, I would start off with a basic question, which is very, very important, and I've been penning it down in the last 10-15 minutes. Why is it important for an organization to do a health check? So what I would request is, I'll provide a minute and a half to each of you, and starting with Gopal, if you can share your insights and why do you feel it's important the company should have a health check? Gopal, please.
Okay, so the first thing is that, with the COVID situation happening in the last 7, 8, 9 months now, there is a greater realization that everything is not hunky-dory. There are things in the business, in the ecosystem, in the environment around us, which is perhaps holding us back, which is forcing us to relook at the way that we have been running business in the past. So there has been a lot of impact on a lot of smaller organizations, and it's like saying that, hey, I'm not the only one who's hit. I mean, there are a lot of others who are also in the same boat, sailing in the same boat.
Right.
And there is a realization that जो पहले होता था वो कुछ बदल सा गया है. मतलब and COVID has starkly shown that in our faces that business is no longer business as usual. The way that we operate business, the way that we relate to people, the way that we meet people itself has changed dramatically. And in all this, there is a need to say, hey, look, is there a way that I can really look at how well prepared am I as a business to look at making that change happen, to quickly adapt to the new circumstances, to be able to realign, change the direction, do things like that. And if that needs to be done, the first thing I need to know is where is it going to hurt me? Where is it hurting me right now? And I guess for something like that, the best way would be to do a quick diagnosis of where do I stand right now.
Right. Great. Thanks. Now moving on from Gopal to Rajiv. Rajiv,
Yeah, I think yes.
deeply involved in this, so if you can share.
Yeah. I mean, when I talk about this current situation, I personally believe that this is a huge opportunity right now, because if you really see, as we have been talking, that last 6-8 months has been pretty much a transformative for all of us. Okay, so whatever business, whatever profession, whatever kind of engagement you are in, be it a student, be it an college person, or an staff in an office, or entrepreneurs or big corporates, so everybody has gone into a different kind of challenges, I would say. And this challenge, I personally believe, is an opportunity for us to really transform in a big way. And that's why I take it the whole context, as Gopal was explaining, that in a very positive and a very constructive way. And I believe that in this era of opportunity, the two things which are very, very important for us to really introspect, and that is that what is the new need for the people. So need finding has become the big buzzword for us. And when you are talking, because whatever business or whatever engagement you have, you need to really see what kind of customers has evolved, because this pandemic has evolved the mindsets, and what kind of fresh or the revised need they have. And based on that, what is your purpose? So obviously, whenever we have started our engagement, we had come with a purpose. And when you are trying to align the purpose with the need of the customer, that is when I see a huge opportunity which we can really encash at this point of time. Thank you.
Right. So you are pointing to that must be new and evolving needs which are coming into the market.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely right. Mr. Goel, I'm sure you can share from both the angles. You have been mentoring also. At the same time, you have been an entrepreneur yourself throughout. So why is it so important to a health check?
You see, I'll start with something very casual example. Like a person was driving on highway in the evening, and suddenly the deep fog sets in, and he saw that kind of fog first time in his life. His vehicle is not ready. His vehicle is not equipped, and he is not trained to drive in that kind of a dense fog. So that is what is happening with most of the business communities around. People have not been exposed to such kind of environment, and people have not seen such kind of era where 6 months, 8 months lockdown kind of features have been there. There are companies who have been facing financial crisis, or have gone through maybe in last 10 years. If we start from 2008, Goldman Sachs crisis, or post to that a couple of more. So some of the companies who have gone through the crisis and they have managed, probably their processes have been already set, and they know that such kind of crisis may come, but that percentage is very, very less, very insignificant. If we talk about MSMEs, if we talk about small business people, if we talk about like small time entrepreneurs who have just started, for them such kind of perceived perceptions were not there. There were no set examples. So now today, when they have seen such kind of example where some of them might have been forced to close down their businesses, some are maybe planning to close down because of that, they can't see something beyond that fog, what is already there. So such kind of practices where they can see that yes, they can still survive. It's like you go with the illness to a doctor, and everybody around were telling you that, hey boss, you are going to die in next 6 months, and suddenly you go to doctor and doctor says, oh, there's no worry, you are going to survive in a good way.
Right.
So what the need is for a health checker, where a person can become confident once again, and can probably start looking at things with a different perspective.
Right, and I think you have put it in a. I would say there cannot be a better way. You said there's still a chance and opportunity.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to die. That's for sure. Because see, the world is going to exist. Business is going to exist. People will buy products. They will need various services. So nobody is going to die out. The only thing is, as Rajiv and Gopal, you have been sharing, there's a need to change, need to measure, and see what can happen. In fact, there are a lot of exciting things to just share with you before we go to the next level. I interacted with a couple of business entities, and I was surprised. Some of them approached me and said, hey, I have a couple of my European partners, and they are asking me, boss, please submit your disaster recovery plan. Great. Give me your business continuity plan. What are they? Said, come on here. You are running your business. You don't know what is a disaster recovery or business continuity. So it's slowly the world has started asking certain questions which were never asked.
Yes.
So they are saying, hey, I will join and be with you. If you can share with me, if you have a plan, how will you continue your business during disaster? So there are a lot of things which are evolving. Now, see, a pertinent question is, let's start off with the first favorite one. Then we'll go to the next level. Everybody believes that if my company is making money, I'm okay. Right? It's like if I'm getting up in the morning, having my cup of tea and coffee, going to office and coming back home, I'm okay. So let's start off with the first question which an entrepreneur feels and is comfortable with: profitability and revenue. And then we'll go to the next one. So the staying to the forum, like how to check, is revenue and profitability the right or wrong? I'm not saying. How should I check whether I am in the right direction or not? If we can share from our experiences, what could be the guiding parameters or what could be the pain parameters in financial areas? Gopal, if I may come to you.
Okay, so that's an interesting question. From my perspective, it's not an either or kind of situation. So you might be a very profitable organization. I'm just talking from some example over here. Very profitable organization. There's no problem with the margins. There is no problem with the market. The business is assured. All that is fine. But the problem that happened was that in the last 6 months, the payments that were coming from the customer, got delayed. And that ensured that the cash flows became so tight that, it became very difficult to kind of survive. So while the business was still profitable, the fact that cash flows were tight ensured that he had to borrow money, and borrow money means there is a cost attached to it, which can bring down your profitability very, very rapidly. Not just bring down the profitability, it can even lead to the business itself being questioned, saying कि भैया ये चलेगा नहीं चलेगा, ऐसे कितने दिन चलेगा. So that's the way it is. So it's not just about the market. It's not just about the orders that you have in hand. Sometimes a lot of other factors might also be at play.
So what you are saying, within finance, there are a depth of issues which can happen, and we cannot only look at the balance sheet and the profit I am making. There are a lot many factors which needs to be considered to ensure that we are.
Sure. In fact, I think Rajiv will be able to throw much more light on the balance sheet and related areas.
Very much.
So yeah,
I was coming to Rajiv on that. So Rajiv, you have been analyzing companies in a different way, okay, from financial angle also.
Yes.
We do that. So what is it? What is it? People say, I have my balance sheets, I have everything in place, my auditors do it.
Yeah. So Sandeep, just to remind you, by profession, I'm in cost and management accountant.
Yes,
so,
you know that.
So basic instinct in my blood is accounting and finance. From that particular point of view, what I have seen in my 4.5 years of entrepreneurship, people are completely focusing on profitability, as you are rightly saying, and Gopal also saying, because cash flow and the profitability are the day-to-day things what every entrepreneur is working. But coming from my corporate background, okay, what 25 years of corporate exposure has given me one big thing, which is apart from profitability, is viability. Now that is one thing which is basically to make you understand that in the business, what is working, what is not working. Because as an owner, you have to, because as Goel sir was very clearly saying that when you are driving in the car in the high speed in the highway, and you have got a fog and you are not, so something is working, the car is running, So the car is definitely running. There is no problem in the car. But what is problem is the fog is obstructing your the whole speed or the whole risk to run the car. So it is very, very important for all of us to really first understand that what in the business is working and what is not working. Because if you do not segregate the both, you can't take the first action. And this particular first action can only be taken when you have assessed your business properly. Okay, so normally we have in our business practice a lot of questionnaire, as you are also talking about,
Right.
a lot of questionnaire. And because we are professional coming from that particular environment, so we have a questionnaire which will make you understand that what is working and what is not working. And that is the first point to really start off your transformation journey.
Right.
Now, in this context, as I was saying, the profitability and viability, understanding the depth of profitability and viability comes from that what is the kind of investment you are making to the business and what kind of return you are making. So you might be having a profit of 100 rupees. Now, when I say that to get the 100 rupees, you have invested 100. So you have a 100% return. Now, to get the 100 rupees profit, if you have got 10,000 or 1,000 rupees investment, so your return is 10%. So that is a huge difference when we are talking about. And at this point of time, I feel that every entrepreneur has to understand that what is the kind of return they are making from the business. Over to you.
Right. Okay. That's very important and very, very pertinent query, viability. And I don't know whether at this point of time some of the companies may be over leveraged. There may be also
Yes,
issues which
yes.
are happening. They don't, on a day-to-day basis, they don't realize it. Mr. Goel, now you have been investing also, and you have been managing your businesses also, and you have a balance sheets. We know profitability and revenue growth is very, very important. Okay. So what is it that people might miss out, or what can I check
You see,
when
I
it comes to financials?
summarize this thing in 2-3 different points.
Please.
There are a couple of businesses which were running on high volume, which were quite high volume businesses.
Mhm.
And they used to borrow capital probably, let's say, at 10% or 12%. And their margins used to be, on an average, used to be like 13, 14, 15%. So there was, the margin efficiency was very, very thin. Now what happened, the payments got delayed, as Gopal and Rajiv said, and because of thin margins, the bandwidth was very, got squeezed. Now those businesses could not find a way out to survive because their cost of capital was increasing with every month passing on, and their turnover got stopped. When their volume went down, and they could not rotate the entire business. So that is one part. And second part is that they did not foresee this thing as well, that our payments will be blocked for next 3 months or 6 months time.
Right.
So like a rotation in cycle, that everything was moving, and suddenly the cycle got stopped and you fall down because you practiced only for the cycle which is running, not
Yes.
cycle at a slow speed or without any speed.
Right.
So that practice was not in culture. One. Second, when you work on very thin margins, like one is the balance sheet is very profitable. I've seen like couple of balance sheets, huge balance sheet. That's my hobby and interest.
Right.
See, the assets of the company are in at, let's say X.
Right.
Private debt is almost 10X. Now those companies definitely are running on a flimsy background, though they are very huge, and their projections and their consultants have driven this kind of setup. But actually, fundamentally, they are weak. So that is another part. Third is the operating efficiency. Now, how adaptable the company is. Like I take example in this part from my business, where we used to work and skill people with central government projects.
Right.
We devised that like when we start a batch, our payment cycle will probably be completed in next 6 months or maybe 9 months on a higher side.
Okay.
And if we would have taken that probably the revenue right from the first month, we
Right.
in negative cash flow.
Mm.
So that probably you need to foresee your business not in the short term, but at a longer period where you see that yes, the revenues are going to come at what interval and what probably the maximum delay can happen. And you have to manage your finances accordingly. So
True.
we had first time in our life, we went for some overdraft facility from the bank and we managed that period of 5 6 months with that OD and which used to get like managed with the cycle of payments.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So with all these things, like it is more about knowing your business and how the business is going to be in the line. Like when we talk about profitability, now today you earned let's say X amount of rupees or dollars in your bank, but you do not calculate, you do not see for next 1 year or next 2 years or next 5 years. So the short-term earning is basically the major cause of such kind of failure.
Right.
Sometimes it happens that let's say if I take my example, I'm started 2 portals now, but if I say that I must get revenue now or else I'll collapse. So that is not the case. You need to see that how much you have to invest from your side and how much time it may take to start generating revenue.
Right.
You can't be just you paid to McDonald's and you have your chicken nuggets on the table in 5 minutes.
You
So
can't. You can't.
business is,
Right.
yeah.
That's so right. Finance is a deep area. It's not about balance sheet. It's not about only profits. What am I borrowing? What are my leverages? Am I dependent on only one customer or two customers? Okay. Do I have a right cash flow or not? What are the interest I'm paying to the market? How much am I investing? How steady are my collections? So, n number of things, and I have a plan for emergencies. People have not. 6 months, 7 months, 8 months in a lifetime of a company is nothing. And the major questions we have been asking organizations or people who have been auditing is, how come the world comes collapsing into the situations? It should not. Okay, now shifting to another favorite parameter within the company, we have touched upon the revenue and profitability issue, which is the top favorite of any entrepreneurs. Next is customers, because everybody needs a customer. And most of the time, I've interacted with people and they say, no, my customers are happy. Okay. So with that, I'm sure all of us have interacted with our companies and their customers and other people. Customer satisfaction is a measurement. Okay. And it can play wonders without people coming to know, and they can slip out or in whenever they want, which is happening in most of the companies at this point of time. Okay. Is customer satisfaction important and needs to be measured? Gopal, what do you feel?
Absolutely, absolutely. See, at the end of the day, our business exists because of our customers. So if what we provide were not to provide value to our customers, our business goes away. And so a lot of times I'm seeing now, for instance, the end consumer of my customer, his choices are becoming very different, and therefore my customer has very different requirements and demands from me. And if I don't meet that in the same way, then I can see my business going away. I mean, it's a very linear relationship there. So if I am not good enough to be able to anticipate sometimes what my customers, consumers will want, or customers will want, and I'm not getting prepared for that, I might be on a very, very sticky wicket. And so one very good way of measurement of this is to say, hey, look, what is your customer satisfaction index? And and very often in manufacturing, we don't even look at that as a parameter. We rely on the fact that we have good relationships, उठना बैठना है, payment terms अच्छे हैं, बातचीत होती रहती है. That is a different matter from actually figuring out how the business requirements are changing or not changing, or what more can I do to help your business grow. And that is something that is formally not very often captured by smaller organizations. Large organizations, on the other hand, make it a very rigorous practice to be able to do that. And I think that's one of the learning points for smaller organizations like us, to be able to put that as a metric and measure it as a way of ensuring that our tomorrow's bread and butter is kind of not going away.
Right. I think you pointed a pertinent point. Understanding what your customer wants. Picking up from Gopal, it is not only small organizations. I found that large organizations like Siemens and Honeywell too were not measuring their customers and doing a proper customer survey. One of my clients picked away a large business from these two companies in the last 5 to 6 months during COVID from a large PSU. Only because these large companies were not able to measure and understand what the customer was feeling and what was the pain area. Okay, it was good. They were having lunch, dinner, fine. So they thought that the customer is happy. And suddenly one fine morning, they realized 7 crores of order went away from them and picked up by a different company, not known, but in touch with the customer.
Right.
Coming to Rajiv, while you have been measuring, and I'm sure somewhere you must have been, your clients have been focusing on to this customer satisfaction. What is your take onto it?
So, so as I was saying that I'm predominantly a finance guy. So whatever the whole organization works and does it, actually every effort gets culminated into the finance function. So at the end of the day, your balance sheet, your P&L will reflect that. So from that particular perspective, I will only say that one thing which is very, very important for us to understand is that are we creating value? And in simple terms, are we creating value in the lives of the customer? And when I'm talking about the value creation in the lives of the customer, okay, am I making a difference in his life? And I can only make a difference in his life when I see my customers are successful. Whatever business I am in, when I see that my customers are successful, and they will always come back and get engaged with me automatically, because I need not to really push for any lunches or dinners or any gifts or any kind of engagement, because by automatic route they will because my existence is because of the customer. And when I fulfill his requirements of being successful, okay, as a impact in his growth story, and that is where I feel that my balance sheet is automatically taken care of.
Very important. And adding at this stage, what we observe, I'm just adding on, most of the time we have felt and we have seen entrepreneurs says, my customer is happy, don't worry. I'm sure you must have seen it. I meet them, I exchange gifts, everything done. But remember one thing, people sometimes don't tell on your face what is wrong, because they have been interacting with you for so long. Sometimes.
Absolutely.
People sometimes don't understand why it is important to engage a third party, an unknown person, in your absence, to go and find out, is my customer happy?
So I think Gopal has already touched based on this point when he talked about the metrics and KPIs, because it is very, very important that you have to move from a subjectivity to objectivity, and that subjectivity to objectivity can only happen when you are employing the right kind of, or looking at the right kind of KPI metrics, because that is the only tangible way to really realize that whether the customer is truly engaged in truth. Because when you show a growth path, okay, in his performance, in his deliveries, or in his productivities, so that is when they also understand, because at the end of the day, what actually matters for everybody is what is my bank balance. So by employing Panacea, if I am assured that my bank balance is to really grow, and that is when the whole success is there in the life of the customer, and that is what the KPI and metrics does.
Okay, coming on to Mr. Goel, like you had direct customers and you have been interacting with them and servicing them. So what do you feel? Is there a need to measure or not?
You see, with the different kind of businesses when we have, like every business entity will have its own parameters of customer satisfaction. Probably I'll just quote a friend of mine who has a distribution channel of around 1400 dealers across India. I believe that he must not have seen or spoken to them even once in a year.
Right.
Then I had another friend whose distribution was mostly into some other products where people used to come and pick the product, and he's
Right.
not even aware of that where he's going to sell the product. So in my case, it was more of a students, around 30 to 40,000 students we used to train every year. Now reaching out to the students till last definitely is not a simple task. For a person whose customer is not even known where the product is been sold and who is selling the product, for him reaching out to that person who is not identified even is again the biggest challenge. Probably for that,
Right.
the customer acquisition metrics, I think, will play a major role.
Yes.
Where how the customer is coming, if the company starts focusing on those parameters, how the new customer has been acquired and
Acquired.
behavior from region wise or maybe from a particular like when we advertise now on socially, there are multiple fields: behavior, interest, this and that. So probably we need
Right.
customer acquisition metrics, which when you are not been able to meet or reach out to the customer till last, so then probably the
Right.
acquisition becomes another by means for you to see whether the customer satisfaction is there, because the repeat customer, one, that is a key. Second, the referral customer is another key. Third, if you are selling, let's say, X amount of money, X amount of product in a particular region, and your
Right.
growing in that region continuously, so probably you can have some like parallel indicators, not the direct indicators, but at least some virtual indicators you can create and see that, okay, in particular region the sales have gone down, in particular region sales is going up. So you can correlate.
Right.
Generally,
Right.
I think that the homegrown businesses where the professional team has not taken over the management, probably they believe only on what they have spent in a month's time and what has been received. So they are
Absolutely.
down to the, I think it is called mercantile cash flow.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
sure because ultimately I'm not that
Absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
No,
professional.
it's right.
So it,
See, what we'll do is
the business
we,
has been operated and judged on those parameters, kitna gaya, kitna aaya.
right.
But beyond that, if they do not consider like region-wise sales, they don't consider a particular dealer-wise sales, or maybe the, as you said, that then the manufacturing line, you build up not only one product, multiple products are there. So you don't see the input and output of
Right.
the product item-wise. So a lot of indicators can be there. If you have not been able to reach out to the customer, you can build up n number of matrices to support your customer satisfaction alternatively. Yeah.
Okay. Now the next portion, let's keep it broad-based. When we are measuring, I'm sure it is not only customers, it is not only money or the profits or the balance sheet. Within an organization, to stay healthy, there are different organs which needs to be evaluated. There can be administration, there can be inventory, there can be HR, there can be people. There are n number of areas. New customer acquisitions, repeat customers. What is happening? So from here on, if I broad base the entire discussion as such, coming back to Gopal, when you view an organization, what do you feel an organization should look at when they're thinking of survival and growth? And they think that I'm vital and I'm actually healthy.
One of the very widely used management tools is called SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And it's a very simple tool at one level. And yet it is a very, very meaningful tool because it helps us to really get down to know what are our strengths, not only for today, but also for tomorrow. and weaknesses and opportunities and threats. And doing an exercise like that with sometimes, for if I were to do a SWOT for myself, for instance, perhaps I'm the best guy to do it. But when I have to do it for an organization, sometimes it is good to have somebody else asking those questions and pushing me and asking the same questions in 3 different ways to help me to come to a better understanding of what my strength, weakness, opportunity, and this strengths and weakness can come from, like you mentioned, a variety of it can be money, it can be market, it can be customers, it can be the product that I provide, the kind of processes that I use, a lot of things. And so mine is that if one used a simple tool like a SWOT analysis and had a professional administer it, perhaps it would be a very good starting point to really get a look at where does my business stand with respect to today and with respect to the future.
Right. So a SWOT analysis is very important and pertinent is what you are proposing. And it's very important for a company to understand what are its strengths, weaknesses, and what are the opportunities the person has in the market. And what is the third perceptions which exist. Because without that, they will be unprepared getting into it.
Correct.
Now, coming on to Rajiv, beyond finance, I'm sure the company will be able to have a financial balance sheet provided the remaining aspects of the companies are equally healthy and they are pushing the product in the market or solution in the market and they are servicing it. So I think when you analyze an organization and when you're looking at the financial aspects, also look at where all these financials are coming from or utilized, right? That means you're looking into all different components or parts of an organization. So do you feel that those are very important to be analyzed?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have touched a very sensitive and very pertinent point that every department in the organization is created to create value, because ultimately every function, it is not creating value, adding value to the whole business model, then it is of no point. And here the whole point what I want to really discuss, what I have seen a huge gap in the especially in the MSMEs and the smaller MSMEs, that they do not go for a business plan. Because whenever I say that, okay, sir, what are you going to do in next 2 years or 3 years or 5 years? Simple results is yaar kal ka pata nahi tum 5 saal ki baat kar rahe ho. So I think that is the whole cultural change what I've seen from the corporate to the MSME. But I feel that the first and foremost point, as you are rightly saying, we have to build a business model and business plan. Okay, maybe for 2 years or maybe 3 years, whatever is best possible for us, by taking a very clear picture on what is that we want to really make our business for future. Okay, so we have to be aware of lot of things, what we want to do for the business. Second is that all of us has the aspirations. So we have to understand really what is the kind of aspiration, so that we can build something which is very, very assumption based, that okay, this kind of customers I will serve, this kind of product and this kind of so and so forth. So when we are putting all this information in an collated form by department, okay, so we make it a business plan. And once your business plan is made, that what kind of product you are doing, what kind of customers you are serving, what kind of processes you need, what kind of technology you need, everything. So what kind of system you need, everything is collated and articulated in such a way that you can take an action which is insightful. So whenever you are taking an insightful action, that is certainly a better way to really run your organization. And there, as I completely agree with Gopal, that probably all this competencies are not available, especially in the smaller organizations, where they can take a professional help, and by virtue of that, they can also build their whole profitability roadmap. So the way, for example, from A point to B point, you need to have an GPS. Okay, so it works as a GPS for you to really guide that which is the route is the best suited for you.
You're right, absolutely. You need a proper business plan. This is a very, very important point. So we came to SWOT, we came to the business plan. And in fact, we have seen most of the organizations operating without a business plan also. It's there in the mind. मेरे दिमाग में है, and I can roll it out. Now the problem is at this point of time, दिमाग does not work. Employees not in the company, no way to recover the money. So a lot of aspects are not there. Now, taking this forward, Mr. Goel, as an entrepreneur, yes, I know I've seen some of your plans which are there. What are other important areas which are important? I know Gopal has touched upon the wider aspect that is the SWOT. Rajiv has talked about a business plan. Okay. Now delving into the details of it, why it is important that an organization should understand whether all its functions are in place or not. What's happening?
I'll just go with a very generic because I have Gopal and Rajiv sitting in front of me, so I cannot be particular in the technical words. So I'm mostly generic. You see, for the body to function, you have basically three elements. One is the air, the second is water, and third is food. You cannot survive without air for more than, I think, 2-3 minutes.
Right.
Then comes to the water, you probably can survive without water for a certain amount of time. And without food, I think
yes.
Survive for much longer period. Now, same is, I see the business functioning in the similar way if we look at. So the business person has to identify which component relates to the air, without which I'll not survive. Probably I'll die very quickly. Then the water, and then the food. If you look at the body functions, like you do not store air. Water is stored at some level, but the food is stored in your tummy, and that's how we have the belly, bare bottoms, heavy this thing. That's how we can survive for longer time without food. Now that comes with the knowledge. Now, if I go back and start from the fundamentals, being I have been a part of the education ecosystem for quite a long time, you see the education does not go to that level where people can analyze their situations. Now, when you interact with Rajiv, not going personally, please don't take it otherwise. Like I have interacted with a lot of CAs, interacted with a lot of HR professionals, interacted with a lot of other different professional categories at different intervals. Now you see, before that I'll just say a quote which one of my employees passed on to me when I said, "Yeah, you are working very less." So he said, "Sir, in this much of salary, I'm not going to work more." So he used to sit there for 8 hours, but he used to work that if he has to write 8 pages of coding, he will write 4.
Okay.
So you see the understanding, if we talk properly, so since beginning, we have been taught 2 + 2 is 4. We probably do not teach why. That why component is missing from our education, one. Second thing, the professional category also is not been asked first. And second thing, many of them are not enough probably trained on that part where they can say, "Hey boss, you are going wrong here. Probably you need to relook at your business, or you need to look at." So they don't advise as well. It is like entrepreneur is not asking, professional is not telling. And the people whom they have deployed in the company, they say, if I tell him that there is a problem, I'll be burdened. So they ignore as long as they can ignore. So it is
you are more of a yes man.
I mean, you see, that's the moment you say there is a problem, who will do it? You identified the problem, now you get onto this problem, and it goes, it happens. Once or twice, person out of his own anxiety and enthusiasm, they come up with the problem, identify gray areas, and the boss always says, you have find out the problem, you know the answer as well, work on this. So he's loaded with another gun. Next time he comes up, he also loaded with another gun. So over a period of time, person says ki bola or mara. So they say it's better the way it is going on, it's all right. So it is the entire ecosystem which is somehow corrupted, where people are afraid of talking what is seen, what they feel it might lead to, and we do not share the entire truth. It's like Ashwatthama mara gaya. In Mahabharata, Ashwatthama mara gaya. So Yudhishthira said, I will not say Yudhishthira, the son of Dronacharya, is dead. I'll simply say Ashwatthama mara gaya, whether it is elephant or a man. So we do not speak the real crux of the situation. The professionals, the employees, and entrepreneurs sometimes. Entrepreneur says, if I raise these three questions, my team might feel disheartened, and I will not be able to answer them and justify them. So it is better जो चल रहा है, we used to use a term
चलने दो.
क्या फर्क पड़ता है. So that is how we are running the businesses, and we are running our services. So probably like people like Rajiv or Gopal, where they dare to stand and say that yes, boss, there is a problem, and they can analyze. So the analytical mind is not developed from the grassroots level. Whether you talk about school, you talk about college, you talk about MBAs. I've seen interviewed maybe around more than 2,000 MBAs. Even 1%, I'll say, I mean, they do not have analytical skills. I'm not talking about the MBAs from the top premier institutes, but generally people who have acquired MBA from distance education or from sites. So analytical approach is completely missing. So when you have employed a person who does not have the analytical power, how do you expect that they'll come out and will say that, boss, somewhere we are going wrong, let's find out. So that finding out what is missing completely. Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
And absolutely, you have summarized the entire thing. So, see, we gave up very, very pertinent points. We talked about that finance is important, but trying to understand all the nuances of finances is important. How each parameter will affect the other needs to be understood. Not only profits, not our value. Whether I will borrow, not borrow, what are my leverages. Somebody has to analyze, as Mr. Goel put it, as Rajiv has been putting it repeatedly, and put it forward. I have my customers, but am I increasing my customer base? Can I increase it? What happens tomorrow if the customer disappears? I met a person who had more than 150 crores of business dependent on garments manufacturing in Europe. One fine morning, last year and a half, I met his family. The company pulled out from 150 crores, he was into zero overnight with 3 factories in North India. I'm not mentioning where. Gone. Today also we have been asking a couple of IT companies, your revenue comes from 90% from one company. Change, but still it takes time to change. One fine morning, if the company disappears in that or does well or stops payment, 80% of the people will be affected in the company. So one is fine. So customer needs to be evaluated. SWOT, as we mentioned, as Gopal mentioned. So what are my company's strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat? As Mr. Goel rightly put it, I should not be ashamed. I can come out and say, hey, friends, tell me, see my organization. And as an outsider, at least tell me for my benefit, how far my organization will go. Or what are the hurdles? Or if I want to become big, at least मेरे कंपनी को देख के बताओ कि क्या और कर सकते हैं. Open up, because there are thousands like each of you entrepreneurs over there, each of us over there, where we need to evaluate. And obviously, what is a concrete business plan do we have? Is it making sense? Okay, can I grow or not? Do I know what is happening in the outside world? Or will it be tomorrow, suddenly an e-commerce giant comes and I'm wiped out? Or suddenly, if there's a scenario like pandemic scenarios right now, because disruptions will be more common, I'm sure, in the coming years, which is there. So the need, I think, we all agree in the panel is to go out, not seek help, to say, yes, I need to be evaluated. I need to understand what is there and get it measured, like where things are not right. There are measurement tools which we as professional or professional entity can help each organization do that evaluation and handle and take it forward.
Absolutely.
Now, to conclude, I would like each of my panel members to focus on the most crucial thing before we complete this webinar for today. I won't say a one-liner. I would say re-emphasizing on why do we need to do a company's health checkup and why it is important that it should be done immediately with your own experience.
I'll add a third one also, which is
Okay.
why do you need somebody else to help you do that? You know,
Great.
I can always look into the mirror and say, हाँ भाई यहाँ दर्द हो रहा है, यहाँ दर्द हो रहा है, यहाँ दर्द हो रहा है, कहीं भी दर्द हो रहा है. But the fact is that going to a professional, going to a doctor helps us in multiple ways. And as Mr. Goel rightfully pointed out, a few things really stand out, right? The first one is the impartial way of looking at the business. There is nothing here for the professional to mollycoddle and say, नहीं sir, आपका धंधा तो बिल्कुल चल रहा है sir, आपका तो मतलब चलता ही रहेगा उसमें कोई. The professional doesn't have any interest in it. He will say, he will call a spade a spade. So he will look at the facts and he'll say, साहब आपके पास ये है, ये नहीं है. आप इसका कुछ जुगाड़ कर सकते हैं तो बताइए. You know, so that impartiality is something that comes from a third party. The second thing is a professional will come with very specific set of critical thinking skills to be able to ask questions which help you to quickly pinpoint where the issue is or where the issue could be or where the opportunity could be, right? So these two factors very clearly stand out and support the case for anybody and everybody to have a diagnosis done through a professional, even if it is to whet your own point of view, saying, नहीं मेरा business तो ठीक चल रहा है, but एक बार ही जरा पूछ के देख लेते हैं, थोड़ा एक perspective और आ जाएगा. And that perspective can be very, very valid in times like this. And that's how I'd like to put that.
Right. That's very important. Rajiv, what would you say?
I think very well said, Gopal. I fully agree with you every point. But you know, as I was listening to the whole conversation today, and you know, I started with what's working, what's not working, and that's the most important thing. What I believe is the important thing. What every businesses have to look at into, and if professionals can be involved, that is nothing like it. And in this context, I would like to mention 3 points which I have gathered out of this webinar today. First is that every people, because we are consisting of people, the business are consist of people, whether you talk about customer, employee, owners, every stakeholder is a people at the end of the day. And I fundamentally believe the first point for me is that entrepreneurial mindset, that everybody of us have to have the entrepreneurial mindset. How can I create value? That should be the first and foremost mindset for every person involved in the business. That is the first criteria. Second criteria is the skill sets required for today's world is different, because gone are the days when we can really make a lot of progress on the money. But today, if the skill sets which are not relevant, look at Google, look at Amazon, how quickly they have sharply taken the world business takeover. So that's the second point for me today. And third important point, what I believe is the insightful actions. Okay, unless and until, as I was saying, that unless and until, as Gopal was mentioning, that if you do not do the sweat, and as I was mentioning, that if you do not have a business plan, you don't know that which path you should really take the action, which is going to be the most beneficial for you. Over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you. Mr. Goel, from an entrepreneur's perspective, why do you think it's important, and what is your suggestion to your entrepreneurial friends?
See, I'll probably, because the topic had included health, so my entire focus of words was around health only. If we look at 40 years back, we used to have a doctor with a torch and stethoscope only. Those two instruments, he used to check up your body without any blood test, without anything else. Parallel to that, we had people who could who will check your pulse and probably say that you have such kind of problems.
Right.
Then we had blood tests started happening. And if you probably see in last 5 years, people have become habitual of going for a yearly test.
Right, right.
Which was not very much there in the Indian system because of XYZ reasons, that we don't have adequate insurance, or the alignment with the insurance and testing and other things are not there. So that's a separate issue. But people have started going for regular health checkups, which is in place now. The same thing probably for which I and you have discussed, and probably you might have shared with Gopal and Rajiv as well. The business consulting clinic, the word what we have created in Panacea is basically for that purpose only, where we need to create an awareness to the entrepreneur, to the business community, that boss, you keep running your business. We are not there with you for as a retainer consultant whom you have to pay every month a fatty paycheck. Give us the assignment of doing a regular check, and you come to us whenever you have a problem. So we remain like an outsider, where we will not shy away telling you to open your pants, as well as to see and check your health system and give you the complete report. Your your regular people, or your people who are on board, probably may not speak the right kind of language. Like you go to the doctor says, boss, this is what it is. You want my medicine, you eat or not eat, that's your choice. So he will prescribe the medicine. It is up to you that you go for it or you go for another doctor. So you remain free. You are not caged. So I probably will end up this thing, that people must, like people like us, first we must create awareness about this regular health checkup. As we have started doing it for body, we must have similar culture brought in for MSMEs and for, you see, for the large companies like Rajiv said, Google, Amazon and all those things, they have everything in place. And the business is one part. They have adequate manpower for other routine jobs, which probably MSME or the small business people, they cannot afford to have. So keeping that into mind, our like people must come forward and create this awareness on the health check part, and probably we have to make it more affordable. You see, today, let's say Rajiv goes to MNC, probably for him, any X amount will work. But the moment you quote the same amount to a small MSME, he will say, it is 10% of my turnover.
Right.
Probably next time, not only Rajiv, he will not speak to any other consultant as well. He'll say, yeah, they are very costly, not for me. Right. So to find out ways and means so that a person can feel the taste, what it may bring to my table. So that's what we are talking for last 3-4 days, and we are going to come up with some such kind of products on Panacea, where people can probably do the self-analysis rather than coming to us. But after self-analysis, they want some consultancy. Probably we all can come in picture with respect to the required expertise, what a person is looking for. So I hope that is what the awareness, I'll say, awareness on the routine jobs is to be created now.
Right, right. As thank you, Mr. Goel. As Mr. Goel put it, in the coming week, we would be activating the business clinic online, and obviously the online health measurement opportunity will be rolled out, and we'll make it available for people, on entrepreneurs, to do a quick ref check and can come back to get professional help from anywhere in the country and outside also. And I'm sure this is a very large topic, though we touched upon today in the discussion. I consciously focused on profitability and customer care, because that has been, or customers, because that has been the query coming from entrepreneurs as such. But I'm sure getting into HR, getting into work culture, getting into inventories, getting into waste management is a large topic. Maybe we'll find a different time to get into a panel discussion with those issues. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Gopal, for your time. Thanks, Ajit, for coming in. Thank you, Mr. Goyal.
Thank you.
It was wonderful having you all, and catch up with you all next week. Bye, everybody. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.